Okay, I think we're back. Three things I want to do today. One, in the intro to this, I've got a 30-second segment from Steve Istall's channel, howtohunt.com. And in the background of his introduction, somebody or something is walking around at the edge of the wood line behind him. A very light-colored bipedal being. Could be a person. Could be. Steve today, this is June 13th when I'm recording this. It's Wednesday, June 13th. He notes on today's episode that there was a shadow that flew through the background of his latest video a couple of times. And he calls that out and debunks that as somebody on a glider. And so usually whenever anybody brings up one of these things in the background to Steve, he'll explain what it was if he knows what it was. Now he gets hundreds of emails, and I've emailed him about this. I put it in the comments when I first saw it a year ago. And one other person replied to my comment that he thought it was probably a human being walking around, some other fisherman or something. Could be. You be the judge. I just wanted to bring it up because if Steve knows who it is, at some point he will tell us. And so that's why that is here. I'm not claiming that that is anything in particular, but it is odd. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do is talk to you about why I think ET is here, and some of these other things might be here. And again, this is the intersection between my research and questions that MUFON is asking and other people have asked for a long time. So we'll touch on that. And then at the end of the video, Steve latest, well, it won't be latest by the time I publish this, I suppose, but this week, one of his episodes, somebody saw a very large white dog, and I mean like 4 feet high at the hindquarters and taller at the front. They thought it was a pony. And in that episode, the guy talks to his veterinarian, and the vet has discussed it with somebody else who saw the same thing through binoculars and realized that they thought it was a huge coyote, same size, I guess same color, light colored. Which reminded me that several years ago, before we were fully aware of what was going on, family members encountered a large canine of some kind and got photos of it. And it could be a dog, could be. I'm not saying that it is or it isn't. Yeah, I'm going to show you the photos, you decide. I can't tell how big it was, but they thought it was a bear, and we don't have bears around here. And it's not like mistaking a Sasquatch for a bear, because this doesn't look like that. But having run into an episode on how to hunt with a big dog, reminded me about this, and so I'll show you the photos that we got, and you can make up your own mind. So then, just for fun, I had also promised everybody a map of where all of this stuff has been happening. And I got you one here. Let's see. This will be right side up. Now this is a map from a GIS app. And I started making marks on it. This area right up here is where I live. And then all of this other stuff going on, I put marks on the map where everything had happened, and I started counting them up. And there's like 15 things that had happened around here. And 1, 2, 3, 4 more things that happened down the trail, about a half a mile from here. A couple of things that happened about a half mile south of here. And then after I'd written all that on there, I remembered, oh yeah, we found a row of rocks. I mow around this little barn down the lane too, and and I mow it short. And one day I was down there mowing, and I came around the back side of the barn, and there was a row of 4 rocks in a straight line that pointed out towards a deer stand in the field, because there's like a turnip patch behind that barn. So basically, this is like a quarter mile from, a quarter mile across here. And there's all this, I'm afraid it got rather garbled, but you get the picture. There's a lot of stuff has happened around here in the last 3 years. So anyway, there's the map. All right, let's get on with the research and why ET's here. And a lot of people ask that question, and then depending upon what their background is, or what their baggage is, or how they feel about it, or what other encounters they've had, they surmise, and I would too, that if this world is going through business as usual, then ET must be here, or other beings might be here because they want something. They want our gold. They want to abduct us. They're doing testing or whatever. And they might be. I'm not saying they're not. I think I kind of take a Forrest Gump approach to this. There could be a lot of things going on at once. But in my research of these little-known mystical Eastern writings, I came upon a reason that you won't find in any other place, I don't think, about why ET is here. And it has to do with what the writings say is going on in the world in this period of time. Not this month, not this week, not since 1950, but since about 1844, and it will continue on for some time, and we don't know how long. The writings aren't specific about that. So I'll just go through them, and you can make up your own mind. Now, I wanted to start, sometimes I've had people mention to me that it's like these writings are all about universal principles and things, and it's like, well, I think that particular faith is looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. And they might be. We'll see, won't we? But I wanted to read you these quotations to let you know that I think they're firmly grounded in reality. Listen to this. This is one of my favorites. O ye peoples of the world, know verily that an unforeseen calamity followeth you, and grievous retribution awaiteth you. And when the appointed hour is come, there shall suddenly appear that which shall cause the limbs of mankind to quake. Now, I don't know what that means, but it's hardly rose-colored glasses, now is it? And then there's another one in a similar vein that says, the evidences of discord and malice are apparent everywhere, though all were made for harmony and union. There's a lot of things like that. There's a lot of things in the writings that sound like warnings, and they probably are. To counterbalance that, there are statements like this as well. If man did not exist, the universe would be without result, for the purpose of existence is the revelation of divine perfections. If man did not exist, the universe would be without result. Now again, they say if man did not exist, they don't say if humans didn't exist. And I keep pounding that drum because I think the term man and mankind includes these other beings, according to these writings, if I'm right, because they have a mind that reasons in the abstract, and that puts them in the kingdom of mankind in this physical reality. So, with statements like that, that if man did not exist, the universe would be without result, is optimistic, because it tells me that at least these writings believe we are not the unwanted offspring of some broken world after all. Now, I've read to you this other one to you before. I'm going to read it again. It says, it's about how long mankind has been around, and human beings too, I believe. We cannot, it doesn't say human beings though, watch. We cannot say then that there was a time when man was not. At most we can say there was a time when this earth did not exist, and that at the beginning man was not present upon it. Now we're included in man. They could be talking about us, or they might not be. It leaves open the possibility of both evolution and visitation from elsewhere. And again, like Forrest Gump, I think they may both be going on simultaneously. All right, one more, and this kind of sets the stage for why E.T. is here. Quote, briefly, there were many universal cycles preceding this one in which we are living. They were consummated, completed, and their traces obliterated. The divine and creative purpose in them was the evolution of spiritual man, just as it is in this cycle. The circle of existence is the same circle. It returns. The tree of life has ever borne the same heavenly fruit. Now, I mentioned something about cycles in the last episode as well, a different quotation. So if you go to that link to the library and search cycles or even universal cycles, this should come up. So we have cycle after cycle, universal cycles as well, whatever those may be. And when a new one starts, the energy that starts the next one obliterates everything from all memory, trace, all gone. So, why is E.T. here? If this just keeps happening, or if it's just business as usual, why did they come across space and time, dimension, whatever, to be here now? What is it about now that we don't see going on? Okay, these are a couple of quotes that I think answer that question. Quote, the human race as a distinct organic unit has passed through evolutionary stages analogous to the stages of infancy and childhood in the lives of its individual members, and is now in the culminating period of its turbulent adolescence, approaching its long-awaited coming of age. A candid acknowledgement that prejudice, war, and exploitation have been the expression of immature stages in a vast historical process, and that the human race is today experiencing the unavoidable tumult which marks its collective coming of age, is not a reason for despair, but a prerequisite to undertaking the stupendous enterprise of building a peaceful world. That's where it says we are. Not exactly simple, not cut and dried. We're going through almost like a birth canal, and it isn't an easy birth. And when we get where we're going, after we have put away childish things, so to speak, we have a lot of work to do. It does give hope for the future, however, does it not? Collective coming of age is not a reason for despair, but a prerequisite to undertaking the stupendous enterprise of building a peaceful world. Another one, another quotation, quote, whatever suffering and turmoil the years immediately ahead may hold, however dark the immediate circumstances, humanity can confront this supreme trial with confidence in its ultimate outcome. And that's what I like about these writings. They let you see beyond the smoke, mirrors, dust, and conflict. Okay, the quote goes on now, quote, far from signalizing the end of civilization, the convulsive changes towards which humanity is being ever more rapidly impelled will serve to release the potentialities inherent in the station of man and reveal the full measure of his destiny on earth, the innate excellence of his reality. I'm not going to reread that. If you've got Rewind on YouTube, go back and listen to it again if you want to hear it again, because there's a lot in there. Okay, and then there's another quote on the same vein. Quote, "The folly and tumult of strife that has, since the dawn of history, blackened the annals of mankind will have been finally transmuted into the wisdom and the tranquility of an undisturbed, a universal and lasting peace, in which the discord and separation of the children of men will have given way to the worldwide reconciliation." So, that is what I think E.T. and any other being that's here to watch mankind or study us or whatever, that's what they're all here for, is the coming of age party in this cycle. And we are all here to be part of it. And that's an exciting thing. And so the things that I found in these writings, that there are cycles after cycles going back in time forever to beyond when there was no Earth here. And then once Earth got here, there have been cycles within cycles upon it as well. I just find that really, really intriguing and really exciting, because you might find anything anywhere at any time if you just keep looking. And that's always been exciting to me. It was, when I grew up, I always thought the exciting stuff was all off in exotic places. It may not be. It may be in your own backyard, because why? Nobody's ever looked there, have they? So, let's see. Part of this might be from an article I wrote about this. Why hasn't E.T. left already? My opinion here, to be honest, have you ever heard that before? That mankind is coming of age right now? Have you ever heard that anywhere else? This recurring theme, mankind moving from sowing wild oats to achieving its true identity by coming of age, is not only comforting, but it is something we will only do once in this cycle. It is a unique time. And that would explain why our interstellar audience hasn't left the theater. And so that's basically how I concluded the article. And I think I'll put in the photos of a dark-colored, almost probably black canine. And the story with that is, I had a family member who was walking down the lane, and they saw this bear, they thought, coming towards them down a hill across a draw through a picked cornfield. And it frightened them enough that they began to back up towards the house. And when they got back to the house, they told my wife, and she went out to look for it too. And what she was told was that when it got to the fence row, all of a sudden it smelled something it didn't like. Now, it knew that the family member was there. They're sure that they were aware of each other as this was going on. But they said it approached to a fence row, stopped, and then all of a sudden it just turned around and ran back the way it was coming. And they described it at that time as bounding, hind feet, front feet, hind feet, front feet, like a bear might. And my wife she went out to look for it, and I'm not sure whether it was my wife or the other person who got the photos of it, but they both saw it. And the photos show it from 3/4 view from behind, going up the hill away. And I'll add them into the end of this video after I get done here with the GoPro. And you can make up your mind what it is. And the thing that is odd to me about it is it is so stocky. It is like a bear. It's square. It seems to be fairly, broad and bulky. And in the last shot, you get an image of its muzzle as it's like looking up over its right shoulder to see who's behind it. And you decide what it is. But even if it's a dog, I put it on here because Steve's episode here very recently to today, and it might have been the third episode on June 13th, are people talking about a very large canine. And this one was big enough that they thought it was a bear. And the thing I find odd is the rump seems to be very broad, very wide, and fat. And coyotes are skinny, wolves are skinny, German Shepherds have a skinny, slinky back end. It's not a Great Dane, it's not a Great Pyrenees. And we've had St. Bernards, it's not those, and we've had Great Danes. When you get, lots of times when you get big dogs, they get kind of Scooby-Doo-ish, they get kind of long, So anyway, you decide what you think it is, and let me know. If you know what it is, let me know, or if you've seen one like it, tell Steve. So I guess that'll do it for today. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And if you can tell what it is on the shore behind Steve Istall, let him know. Thank you so much. See you next time.